What's up, guys? It's Lance back with another interview. Sorry it took so long. But today we have Derrick. He runs for Bowerman Track Club. He attended Stanford University, where he won 14 All-American honors, held the junior 5K American record, attended Neuqua Valley High School up in Naperville, Illinois, three-time USATF cross-country 12K champion, 2013 outdoor bronze in the 10K, 2012 NCAA indoor 5K and 3K runner-up. Got 10th place at the 2013 World Cross Country Championships. You're pretty good.
Thanks. Try to be.
So, what was it like running for the Paul Vanderslice?
Paul was Coach Vanderslice was a great influence on my life. I started running basically because a mom on my basketball team in 8th grade told my parents that I should do it because she loved Coach Vanderslice so much. And so they made me do the summer running program, and I wasn't very good to start. I think I ran a 6:03 mile time trial at the end of the summer, right before my 9th grade year. And but Coach Vanderslice every day, we had like 150 kids in the program, but he made an effort to know everybody's name and show a lot of enthusiasm toward me. And that really inspired me to stick with running and continue to work hard. And my goal at first was just to get a varsity letter. I was the 7th guy on the fresh soft team my freshman year, and snowballed into something entirely differently. But I attribute a lot of that to his enthusiasm and just showing a belief in me that I didn't necessarily have in myself.
So were your teammates of high encouragement, and with not just Coach Vanderslice, were your teammates also encouraging as well?
Teammates my age, the older kids were a little. One kid in particular was kind of a dick, if I may say so. He was like, I ran a mile time trial, and it probably wasn't even very good. It was probably like 5 minutes, something like that, in the spring of my freshman year. But Coach Vanderslice, he was like, I've been keeping my eye on you. Like, you're improving a lot. Like, you can make the top 7 if you train hard next spring or next fall. And this kid, Kevin Poyman, who was a senior afterwards, was like, he tells everybody that, which is like partially true. Coach Vanderslice does tell almost everybody that. But the thing is, and the magic is that he actually does believe that everybody, he sees that potential in everybody. At first, some of the older kids were not the best. I also remember one time I did make the top 7 starting the next year, and we were going to run the dual meet was the first meet of the year. And it was like a decision to put me in the fresh soft race for the varsity race. And I ran the varsity race, and we were watching 2 of my teammates like win the race. And this other kid who was a senior was like, yeah, you could have won this race, but you're gonna have to wait a whole another year. And then I went out and I actually did win the varsity race. So, Donovan I taught him a lesson or something like that. But I think by the end we had developed, and those are just kind of funny stories, really. I think we had a really good team culture, and that was a big part of why we went from 9th in state to winning Nike Team Nationals my senior year. Was we just had a very encouraging team atmosphere, and I think it was a lot of fun. It was some of my best friends, and it was a great time.
So is this man ever 20 years later like message you on Twitter or Instagram or something like, hey dude, I'm so sorry?
No. Never heard from those guys again. I'm sure they don't remember it. They were just being funny, but I was young and insecure, so I remembered it, which I guess is a lesson to anyone out there. Like, you might not think it's a big deal what you say to somebody, but small words can have a big impact.
Yeah. In high school, like, what were your hopes for college?
My hopes for college?
Yeah.
I guess I didn't really think about running in college till maybe after my sophomore year, when I had improved quite a bit. And then, I wanted to run at a good school. And then I guess by the time I graduated, I honestly don't really know what I expected. I guess I was one of the top kids in the country. So I wanted to be as good as the other kid, German Fernandez and Luke Piscadra and people like that who were my age, who were going into school. I wanted to be as good as them. And I wanted to be All-American at some point. I ended up, yeah, my freshman year in cross country, I was seventh. I can't really say that that was like my goal, but kind of maybe developed into more of a goal as I started running that year. Yeah, I don't know. I think I was never really much for setting like very specific goals like that. I would just kind of maybe have a vague idea in my head, and I would just try to kind of go out and work hard every day and see what happened.
So, where were you hoping to go to college? Was it hoping to be a big school, like you said, or at the original, was it hoping to be just maybe getting the opportunity to run?
I guess I knew I would probably, so I ran something like 9:24 my sophomore year for 3,200 and 8:54 my junior year. So I knew somewhere in there that I would get to run in college. And so, yeah, I was more just trying to find the right fit academically and athletically. Coach Vanderslice gave me great advice. He told me that I should go where I'd be happy if I got hurt or the coach left. And so, yeah, I was pretty academically minded. So, um, I visited like U of I and Stanford and Georgetown and a few other schools. And I just kind of wanted to be in a place that was like a good running culture and also like a relatively high up academic school.
So, as the biggest piece of advice for like middle school and high school runners, what would that be?
I think you need to develop habits, uh, consistent habits that you can stick with. Um, and so the biggest thing is just like, I mean, for middle schoolers, maybe they don't need to run as much. I wouldn't say middle schoolers should run every day. Um, and even for high schoolers, 6 days a week is probably fine. Um, but you need to make it not a question if you're going to follow the training plan or not. Like obviously if you're hurt or whatever, you have to take your time
Yeah,
off,
yeah,
but uh, it can't be a question in your mind if like you have something written on the training plan, like, am I going to do this or not?
yeah.
You have to make it a habit of like, I know I will get this done. Um, and I think as well that and part of that though is having fun with it. Like you need to, I would definitely, my, I would definitely say like, try to get teammates involved, friends involved. That makes it easier, makes it fun. Um, so it's not supposed to be a grind all the time. It's supposed to be enjoyable. It's supposed to be a great part of your life, something you look forward to. But yeah, I would just say the number one thing is like this sport is all about consistency and just piling layers and layers of training on top of each other. And um, yeah, you just need to get in a mindset where you know that you will do that.
What do you like? You said consistency. What do you think was like the best workout that you could do as a middle school or high school athlete?
I mean, I didn't train in middle school, so the best workout I did was the mile time trial in gym class, and I ran 6:35. So um, that's about all I had. In high school, I guess by senior year, so I ran a 5K on the track in 13:55, and before I did that, I ran 8 times 800 in like 2:14 or so. Um, and so that was probably one of the better workouts I did. Um, yeah,
Wow. Attending Stanford, what was your favorite part of being there?
it's a great question. Many things. I mean, obviously the campus is beautiful, and I really miss that environment. But I mean, mainly it was my teammates. I had some great friends that I met there, and people that I'll be friends with for the rest of my life. And yeah, I just kind of miss just like hanging out with them after dinner, sitting out at the picnic tables on a California night, and I don't know, talking about whatever, just to delay doing our homework. That was the fun part.
So in 2012, at the beginning of the track season, what did you expect to come out?
Um, yeah, I don't know. I like I said, I was never much for setting specific goals, and frankly, maybe I should have set some more specific goals that season. Uh, I wanted to be close. Yeah, I mean, I knew I'd been second in cross country. I knew Lowy Lang was very, very good. He was the guy who won the 3K and 5K when I was second. So I just kind of, I don't know. I going into each season, I don't know if I ever really, I wanted to win an NCAA title, which I did not end up doing. But yeah, I kind of figured I would be up there with Lowy and competing to win, and figured maybe I wasn't likely to win, but I wanted to give it a really good shot. I think the one mistake I probably made, probably made two mistakes that season. One was I let Lowy pass me with 300 to go in the 3K, and the other was that I ran the Olympic trial, or I ran the Olympic A standard for the 10K, Peyton Jordan, which is in like May. And our conference meet was 2 weeks later, and then we had like regionals and nationals. And our head track coach was someone who like wanted us to race a lot, and I probably should have just been more forceful about not really being like, I'm just going to run one event at those meets, because I doubled at conference and I ended up hurting my foot, and that really kind of put me in a bad position for the trials where I ended up being fourth. So I think if I could, I was a little afraid to put out that I wanted to like make the Olympic team. I just figured like I'll just do my best. But I think maybe if I was a little more forceful about that, I could have been in a little better position.
So a question I just thought of that may not contribute just in college, but out of your whole career, what race really was the, all right, I know what I'm capable of now, let's get to work, like that kind of race, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I would say there's different ones at different times because, like I said, my first ambition in running was just to get a varsity letter. So, when I won that first varsity dual meet against, my teammates or whatever, it was like, that was huge for me. And, frankly, like, then after that, I would say, it's a little hard to say. I guess after I had some moments my senior year in cross country where I set some course records and kind of felt like, okay, like I'm ready to contend for a national title. And then when I ran 27:31 in college in the 10K, that was my senior year. That was like, okay, like I'm one of the best guys in the country. Like I should try to make teams. And so that was a big moment as well.
So looking back at your pre-professional career, what was the thing that you regret not doing the most?
I guess I wish I would have done some ankle mobs that I know about now for my plantar fascia, but I didn't. It would be hard to know that. I think what I was just talking about with the trials. I think I regret just not being a little more. I was always afraid to put myself out there, is to say like, oh, my goal is to do this or that, because I didn't want people to think that I was arrogant, and also realistically, I don't think I wanted the pressure on myself. So I wish I would have taken a step back there in my senior season and just said like, hey, there's a really great opportunity here to make the Olympic team, and communicated that to my coach and kind of put the pressure on myself to do that. And I think we maybe would have changed some things, and I would have been in a little better position. But I mean, in general, it's always like you always wish you would have rolled more or stretched more or whatever, done better PT exercises when you get hurt. But that would be something.
So how did Bowerman ask you to run for them, and what was it like?
I think Jerry, my coach told me Jerry Schumacher is the coach of the Bowerman Track Club, and he, so my coach told me Jerry wanted to talk to me. So I remember standing outside of the gym at Stanford, just kind of like pacing back and forth. And he and I had like a decent long phone call in like January. He said he was interested, in possibly coaching me. Like we would talk later in the year. And, I had some other coaches interested, and I went up and, I knew Evan Jaeger from high school, and he ran for them. And so I stayed with him, and we just kind of, I don't know, I just kind of knew it was the right fit for me, because it's a very team-oriented environment. And there were some other pro options, but there were many fewer groups at the time. There's only really like a couple other groups, and none of them had that team feel. And so, I kind of knew that's where I wanted to be, and kind of worked things out with Nike, and then yeah, moved up to Portland and have been there ever since.
So when you first came up to the facility and started, if anyone was there, were you like starstruck at all?
Um, Honestly, not that much. I mean, so it was, like Chris Zelensky and Matt Tegenkamp, and
Yeah.
I had run with Matt Tegenkamp before. I had met Chris Zelensky once or twice. Um, yeah, I think honestly I was a little. I don't want to say I was like arrogant, like, oh, like I'm better than these guys or whatever. Like, but I think I knew that I belonged. Like I had run really well. Like Matt had just beaten me in the 10K at the trials. I went up just after the trials, but he was second and I was fourth, and I had run 27:31. Like, Simon Byrie was there, and I had beaten him in that race when I had done that. And I mean, I was stoked. Like, I was really happy to like be with those guys and like feel like I belonged with them. I was definitely like a little giddy about it, but I don't think I really. Chris Solinsky, he's like a Wisconsin guy, and like he's an old school dude. He's like, he's into like Rocky and all that kind of stuff, right? So like he was a guy who was very much like, you pay your dues, like you don't get to talk at first. And I'm pretty sarcastic, and like I have my opinions, and I was kind of like, hey, like we're all adults here. Like I'm not 18 years old. Like, so I kind of would needle him sometimes, I think, by having too many opinions too early on. So he probably wishes I was a little more starstruck. But I was starstruck when I met him when I won NXN, or when I won NTN. He was like holding the finish line tape, and I said something silly to him about like us having the same name. So I was starstruck when I was 17. But by the time I was 21, I was like, I think I know where I belong.
So with the group, did it help lift like your performance?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's just like the basic key to Bowerman's success is that there's just, so many guys training at such a high level, and um, it motivates you, it drives you forward, and then it also just like makes the workouts both harder and easier, if you know what I mean. So because you don't have to lead as much, you can run faster, so that makes it easier. But then because you don't have to lead as much, you can run faster, so that makes it harder
Yeah.
because you're running faster. So I just think the quality of the guys on the team, and like that really synergistic team environment where everyone is working together in a workout. You run times and do things that you wouldn't think you could do on your own. Like there's a lot of times you show up and you hear the splits and you're like, well, I don't know if I got that today, but you do the first one and someone else gets you through that. And then, it comes time to lead and you're like, well, I can't let the squad down. So you lead it in the time it needs to be, and just kind of find yourself at the end of the workout having done it. And probably we ran faster than we were supposed to run. So
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, the team is really the most important part.
So what was your favorite part about running for Bowerman? What is your favorite part?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, we're up at camp now, and that's an awesome thing. Like to get to just go to a beautiful place in the mountains and train with, totally dial in. And but honestly, I really enjoyed being a youth coach. I think that's been really fun. And honestly, it's just like I just enjoy being a part of a community that I feel like is trying to do things the right way and train hard and likes each other and is fun. And I don't know, I feel very lucky that I basically get to extend being in college or high school where you're surrounded by your best friends every day. So that would be the thing, just the people mostly.
So you said you're a youth coach?
Yeah, we have a youth program. Unfortunately, it was kind of very different this fall, but yeah, we have a youth program where we do like the Junior Olympics for cross country and stuff. So yeah, I really enjoy doing that. It's really fun. Elliot Heath and Emily Pritt have done an awesome job like building that up, and we've got over 300 kids in that program. So
Awesome.
yeah, it's pretty cool.
So is it just kids out of Oregon, or is it like national?
Yeah, it's just kids in Portland.
Cool. So what did you learn most of being at Bowerman?
Yeah, I guess I've learned many things. I guess I would say one thing that I've learned is, I kind of, when I was in college and high school, I saw lots of kids like work hard and not have as much success as myself or maybe some other people. And I kind of thought like, okay, like everyone who like runs D1, or not everyone, but most kids, right? Like they train pretty hard. They mostly do the right thing. And, everyone like races hard or whatever. So kind of whoever gets to be the best, it's like, it's probably mostly just talent. And I feel like when I joined Bowerman, I realized there was like another level of dedication beyond that, just like baseline kid who works hard, from people like Shalane Flanagan and Evan Jager, who are just like really dedicated to their craft in a like almost all the time. And so I think that's probably been the biggest thing, is just observing and seeing people who like they don't just work hard in the ordinary way. Like they're pretty extraordinary in how detail oriented and committed they are to what they're doing.
Well, thank you so much for doing this with me today.
Yeah, it was great. You're a great interviewer, Lance. Thank you.
Well, thank you. Have a great rest of your day.
All right. See you, man.